Public Information Officer for the Prince George's County Department of Corrections. Here at the Department of Corrections, we're a family, and some members of this family have been here for longer than I've been alive. We're taking time to recognize many of these individuals by sitting down to do milestone interviews. I hope you enjoy this new interview series. I'm Andrew Cephas, the Public Information Officer for the Prince George's County Department of Corrections, and I'm here with...
I'm Marie Crabbe, the Inmate Services Division Chief.
And today we're here for another milestone interview. I'm going to talk with Mrs. Crabbe about her experience with the Department of Corrections and some of the achievements you've made. So to start the interview off, where are you from?
I was born in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, and my family migrated to the United States and settled in Brooklyn, New York. So at 6 years old, I was brought to Brooklyn, and I began my education in New York. So I am Brooklyn bred, BK all the way.
So I know not many youth and children growing up mention that they want to be in corrections or work in the jail. What got you working in corrections?
A friend of mine told me about the Department of Corrections and that they were hiring and there were benefits and, and I figured, hey, I'll come here, I'll spend a few years, go to school and, move on. And 30 years later, here I am.
So how long were you working as a correctional officer before you made the transition to a civilian position?
I think 7 must be my lucky number.
Okay.
Because it was also 7 years. I was a correction officer and promoted to the rank of corporal, was ready to take the exam when the opportunity for employment in the pretrial investigation unit came open. And I was like, well, let me try. I was very interested in learning more about criminal justice. So I interviewed and was hired.
Okay. So now that you're division chief, would you mind just looking back and describing some of the positions you've had leading up to this role you're currently in?
Oh, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I was a correctional officer working in the various housing units and processing and regional. But as a civilian, my first role was as a pretrial investigator. From that, I transitioned into the classification unit, where I became the unit supervisor. From that position, I was promoted to the section chief of community corrections. I learned a lot at that time about how to provide help. So we had a house called the Leslie's House, where women from here were trained, and we provided them with the skill set and their aftercare training, and then we transitioned them into this home where we also connected them with resources in the community to help them succeed and not return to this environment. And so I spent several years in that position before transitioning back to population management as the assistant division chief. Several years in that position, and then I took a voluntary transfer to support services as the assistant division chief. And there I learned so much about the budget. Out of that role, from that role, I was promoted here. Back to Inmate Services as the division chief.
I didn't realize you worked in so many different divisions and everything. Do you have any particular role you've had over the years that you would consider your favorite?
Everywhere in every role that I've been in at the time, I own it, I love it, and then I'm thinking, this is my favorite.
So throughout your career here with the Department of Corrections, do you have any sort of event or incident that you would consider most memorable?
There's one time that I was in the community. I was with my son, and we were at a barber shop in Brandywine. And I'm sitting at the barber shop with my son, and the person in the first chair, the barber, kept looking at me, and I was wondering why. And every now and then he would look, and he said, you're the reason that I'm here. I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He said, I was in 4A. I was in the jail, and I wanted to go into the barber program. You fought for me, and you got me before the board, and We have a TAB board, a treatment assessment board. You advocated for me getting in front of that board. And I got there and I was able to speak to the board. And when the vote was cast, I was voted into the program on a trial basis. Because of that program, I was given an opportunity. He passed the test. He is a owner.
Wow.
He is a co-owner of the barbershop that we were in Brandywine. What that says to me is every day that we're here, every day you have a chance to make a difference.
So you've been in a lot of different leadership roles. What do you think is one of the most important things you learned as a leader, serving as a leader here in this department?
Lead by example. I would say you should always lead by example. Respect and give respect, and you will be respected. I think you have to treat people the way you want to be treated. And I think leaders have to have that about their character, that people trust you.
All right.
You have to be trustworthy.
In your opinion, what has helped get you through your 30-year career so far? Anything in particular that's helped?
My family, my faith, taking time off for yourself. I tell my staff, we have to work, we have to be here, we have to be present, but you also have to take care of yourself.
Do you have any advice for new officers or new civilian staff who are just starting with the Department of Corrections?
Yes. Remain true to yourself, okay? Your integrity and who you are and why we hired you, because you've gone through an arduous process and background to get here. So your character is intact when you walk in here. So while you are here, do not let anything or anyone stray you from that process. Stay true to it. Stay close to people who are like-minded in a positive way, but really stay true to yourself and take care of yourself. Never stop learning, never stop learning. Be open to change.
Okay, so here at the Department of Corrections and just across the country in general, corrections is a male-dominated field. So what kind of advice do you have for new female employees, whether it's civilian or officers, who are starting here with the Department of Corrections?
My advice to a young woman coming into this field is not to do it. Go for your heart. If this is where you want to be, take the challenge. The opportunities are here. I'm all for girl power, but also respect yourself, demand respect in your character, and do not allow anyone or any body to tell you cannot do something.
So do you have any career goals that you're still looking to achieve with the Department of Corrections?
Right now, we're working on a behavior health unit. We have not yet implemented that program, but this is an opportunity for inmates suffering with chronic mental health and duly diagnosed inmates and behavior health challenges would have an environment to transition in and become compliant with their medication and to prepare for transitioning not only into general population but also into the community. And also we're spearheading and revamping the JACS program, which is for juveniles in correctional settings. And we have art therapy and restorative justice groups, and these are programs that are new, and also my assistant division chief and I wrote a grant for it and are waiting for the awards. Okay. We were approved for the grant, so I'm excited about those things. I really would like to see a few of these programs implemented before the end of my career, which is nearing very quickly. I want to thank my leadership, my boss, Deputy Director LeBay, for her guidance. She is wise beyond anybody's imagination. I also would like to definitely publicly thank my director, Director McDonough, because without her openness and her ability to let us do and what it is that we see as leaders and as chiefs and as leadership, this would happen.
So those are all the questions I have for you. Was there anything else you wanted to add in?
No, I want to just thank the Department of Corrections for this opportunity. As I said, I thought I was just passing through, and It's been 30 years. As you notice, I get emotional just talking about it, because when you start to reflect and you think about all the folks that has been here before me in this office, in this building, I'm standing on some really broad shoulders, and I'm very proud of the career that I've had, but I didn't do it by myself. And even here, I have a great team. I have a great team of managers. I have a great team, assistant division chiefs, section chiefs, assistant, administrative assistant, and you don't do it alone.
Well, thank you for sitting down for an interview with me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem.